Hello and welcome. My name's Demian Allen, and this is a bit of a look at January 2021 with the use of the chart from an astrological perspective. Because if you've been contacting saying, can you do a bit more on the astrological for January 2021? So here it is for you all. And I've got a chart for today. It's the 3rd of January 2021. And we can see on the charts that obviously I talked about a couple of days ago in my video, the sun being in Capricorn. We've also got Mercury, the planet of communication, in Capricorn as well. That's a very serious tone, and it's going to get a bit more serious over the next couple of days because Mercury is making a conjunction to Pluto in Capricorn at 24 degrees. And what I've noticed, and what I do notice about when Mercury goes into Capricorn, because Mercury rules how we communicate from an individual level and a collective basis. But from a collective basis, the lens to which the communication comes through, and when Mercury is in Capricorn, it tends to be quite serious. It brings in sort of serious subject matters. You know, there's not much room for kind of humor or optimism. It's kind of right, we've got to survive and get through this. And certainly, you know, when Mercury is in Sagittarius in December, particularly in UK, there was almost this sort of, right, okay, well, all of you can go out at Christmas time and enjoy each other. And then around the solstice, when Mercury went into Capricorn, it suddenly changed and it became, right, okay, we've got to get serious. This is becoming really kind of serious. So with the Mercury applying a conjunction to Pluto, I think over the next 48 hours, certainly that's going to get more and more serious. And there might be things that the sort of skeletons out the closet kind of thing, or something that gets exposed, certainly from somebody in the public eye, that is unearthed suddenly over the next 48 hours that makes a little bit of a shake here as well. The symbolism has to come through with that Mercury making a conjunction to Pluto, something that's not particularly nice or it's unpleasant to do with the underworld, or you know, that we wouldn't normally expect someone to be involved in. The other major thing is today is that Mars is at 28 degrees in Aries. It's coming to the end of its transit through Aries. It's been there since July of last year, so a 6-month basis, and it was retrograde in autumn as well. So, you know, we've had a real big dose of, you know, Mars in Aries. Now, you know, normally Mars in Aries, it rules the sign of Aries, so it usually can function well, but it's been a little bit stopped in its tracks by, one, it's retrograde, and then later on it making square aspects to Pluto, to Saturn. So it hasn't been able to kind of fully do what it's meant to do. And, you know, Mars in Aries is courageous and bold and aggressive in positive and negative ways. And it's the initiator. It wants to do stuff, you know. I always think that sport is a really good kind of template for what Mars is about: controlled aggression and getting on with it and doing it, and being competitive, but also good sported with it. So I think that that's the kind of the template. So if we just kind of move forward, I think it's on the 7th that Mars actually moves into, yes, the 7th. So we're now into the 7th of January. Mars moves into Taurus, where it spent a couple of months. This is significant. Mars doesn't really work well in Taurus at all. You know, if you think about the symbol of the bull, it's basically Taurians don't like to do anything that they don't have to. It's a stubborn energy. It's the bull endlessly plowing the earth, and suddenly Mars, that combat, that courage, that initiator comes into that sign, and the two don't gel. They just don't kind of get along. They can't. Mars doesn't feel it can do much. It just feels like it's blocked by Taurus. So you get the energy that can be quite destructive. It's like the Taurus and the Mars are like rebelling against each other. So you get this kind of real tension in the sky. And this is going to be accentuated by its approach, its applying aspect to making a conjunction to Uranus, which is in Taurus now, and it has been, well, since 2018. It was in there briefly, but since 2019. And Uranus takes 84 years to go around the whole of zodiac, so it spends 7 years in each sign of zodiac. So, you know, last time that Uranus is in Taurus is in the 1930s. Look back on the internet and you'll see some of the stuff that happened in history back then. However, and you know, the Uranus and Taurus is a lot about our values, what we value, money as well, food and agriculture. So these are some of the themes that are really playing out now. So Mars approaching, making a conjunction to Uranus is tense. It's tense. And on top of that, you know, it's got also, it's applying and making a conjunction, a square aspect, sorry, to Saturn and Jupiter, as Jupiter is also making a square aspect, applying a square aspect to Uranus. We got some heavy fixed energy coming up. It is where things get really kind of interesting and tricky, really kind of, I would say from the 8th. So look out from the 8th, you know, because obviously on that day, Mercury, which as I said earlier, was in Capricorn and moves into Aquarius, another fixed sign. So we're starting to build up a stellium of planets in Aquarius, which is really going to set forth in February. So now we've got these square aspects really kind of taking place. This is not easy. This is not easy at all. We've also got Venus just gone into Capricorn. So it's been in Sagittarius for the last 3 weeks. So it's gone into Capricorn. So that Capricorn energy is still there with the sun at 18 degrees. And of course, Pluto's been there since 2008. But it's got now the sun by its side. So it's shining light on that Plutonic energy again here. And this is a really kind of interesting day. The 8th, because on the 8th as well, between the 7th and the 8th, you've got the moon in Scorpio as well, setting things off. Really heavy. And this is what I was really kind of saying, is that for me, looking ahead in the year, this middle part of January, from the 8th to around about the 21st, 22nd January, is really heavy. It's intense. It's a bit of a crisis point. It's a bit of like, we've got something that's really out of control here, and we don't know what to do with this actually energy. So it's going to be frantic, but you know, I feel like government institutions are going to kind of carry on and just kind of plow along with what they've been kind of doing. And the public, I think, are going to kind of go a little bit against this and go, hang on here, actually, this is not going to work. So it's really kind of difficult as we've gone into the 11th of January. 11th is a build up to the new moon in Capricorn. You can see the moon here in Capricorn. There's the sun. A new moon is a conjunction between the moon and the sun in the sky. And obviously that sun is getting closer to Pluto. So you've got that going on. And then you've got the square aspects between, look at this. This is on the 11th. You've got a square between Saturn and Mars. In traditional astrology, you know, Mars and Saturn are known as two malefic planets. And malefic is a word that is really kind of strong connotations and not too pleasant. However, I kind of feel like this is going to be, when these two square each other, it brings a lot of destruction. A lot of destruction. And then we've got Jupiter also squaring Uranus. Doesn't happen often. So Jupiter is a planet of expansion, of growth, and Jupiter wants things to be bigger and better, and it all, whatever planet it touches, it expands that and makes it bigger. And so Uranus and Taurus is it's quite a rebellious kind of combination. And Uranus is very similar to Mars, I feel. You know, they're both very unpredictable planets. And so you've got this concoction just building up in the sky that's going to be really kind of intense during this period, and the new moon here. So yeah, this is really kind of intense. Right, okay, let's just move forward a couple more days here. And I think, you know, personally, this is a big day again, the 13th, January the 13th. We've got Saturn squaring Mars, pretty exact there on that day. We've also got the approaching square again. Jupiter's at 5 degrees squaring Uranus, and Mercury's just come off the back of making separating aspects from squaring Uranus. This is a really kind of heaviness. This is a really kind of heaviness of fixed energy. Look, I know the cardinal signs you know, over the last 3 years, you know, your Aries, your Cancer, your Librans, and your Capricorns have been really hit heavy. Those signs have been really hit heavy. Well, you know what? You're slightly getting a break for 2021, you guys, particularly Cancerians and Capricorns. If you've got those two signs heavy in your natal charts, you're getting a little break. But if you're the fixed signs, you know, the Taurus, the Leos, the Scorpios, Aquarians, you're getting hit a lot this year. A lot of change, a lot of transformation, a lot of things are going on. And particularly if you're born in the early degrees, that means Taurians from the 21st of April to the 30th of April. I would say Aquarians, you know, the 20th of January to the 30th of January really hit. And of course, if you're, you know, 23rd of October to maybe the 1st of November, Scorpios and the Leos, 23rd of July up to maybe the 1st of August, you're getting hit a lot by these energies. Those particular people born at that time, you're going to get really kind of hit at the moment, and you'll feel it already. You'll be feeling it already as we're into this new year. You'll be feeling it. It's a great opportunity for a lot of change and positive change, but boy, it's like that whole thing of, do you know what, I've got to change, and I know I've got to change, and I got to change quickly, you know, and there's no me sticking what I've got or what I've had in the past. So really kind of tricky energy. Okay, let's just move forward here. So, you know, there's key dates, as I said, January the 8th up until the 21st. I've just gone into the 19th. You can see the sun has now gone into Aquarius. So that Capricorn theme is moved out, and now we're very much into Aquarian energy here. And it builds up with a stellium of planets happening there, which kind of remains there for February. We're in the first quarter of the moon. And look at that. We've got Mars at 6 degrees in Taurus with Uranus at 6 degrees in Taurus. So they are very close together on that day. And if you look at Jupiter, it is squaring. It's at 7 degrees. So these are, you know, Uranus has been kind of, since August of last year, has been retrograde since August of 2020. And on the 14th of 2021, it started to move direct. So it's starting to move forward. So that's good, because it means that things are changing and moving forward. So we got a lot going on there. That's a pretty intense day, you know. I have to say that of all the months of 2021, you know, that middle January period is really tricky. It's tricky waters, people. It is tricky waters. I know you all hear it's going to be great and everything else, but it's tough. Right, January 22nd. This is when we begin to see things move a little bit easier. Simply because Mars starts to separate. I know it's still squaring Jupiter, but you know, it's starting to move away, and just thank the heavens that, you know, Mars is not going retrograde in Taurus. That would really kind of, you know, cause problems. So we've also got the moon that was in Taurus on the 21st, 22nd. So again, that will re-emphasize, magnify a lot of energies. And as we move sort of throughout the next couple of days, we move to the full moon, which is on the 28th here. So here we go. When the moon is in Leo, it opposes the sun in Aquarius. The sun in Aquarius on that moon is also going to be conjoining with Jupiter. That's quite positive, actually. I like that combination, and it really emphasizes the Aquarian themes here. You know, I feel like the people are really going to, the population, the public are going to make some real kind of contributions that are hugely beneficial during this time, whereas governmental institutions are really going to hang on to their own agendas and what they feel is going to be the right thing to do, and maybe not being as adaptable as they need to be, and that stubbornness really being a little bit overwhelming. That's a kind of a tricky energy to go through. And we see now on the 28th that Mars is at 10 degrees, so it's 4 degrees away from Uranus. It's, you know, it's only 1 degree square from Jupiter, so it's still making an influence there, but perhaps just not as intense. We can see lights, and here we go. We're on the 30th. Mars is at 11 degrees. So you know, although we got a real stellium planets, for me that's coming into February. That's huge. February is a huge month for big sweeping changes of policies, of things, of how we look forward, and also to do with the vaccines huge, I would say, technological breakthroughs of how we delegate that. So whether you believe in it or not, whatever, but that will seem like, okay, things are moving forward from the kind of the very darkness of the energy that we've experienced with January. Listen, guys, that is basically the overview. I hope you enjoyed that. Subscribe, keep subscribing, push the subscribe button to get more videos in the future. And I will no doubt see you soon. Bye-bye.